Hi, I'm Gia Mills, and for the past 20 years, I've been a celebrity makeup artist, and I am fascinated by the power of beauty and the incredible politics and how it influences our appearance and how we feel about ourselves. On True Reflections, you get to peek behind the curtain and find out what your favourite celebrities really feel about their appearance when the glare of the media is upon them. So who is with me today? My guest today has nearly 2 million followers, and she has created a safe space for those turning loss into happiness. With her book, Blind Not Broken, out to buy now, I'm delighted to welcome to True Reflections, as she calls herself, the British blind girl. It's Lucy Edwards.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Good morning, Lucy. Thank you for joining us. I have just been reading your book, which is Blind Not Broken, and as the title says, you are blind. And
I am.
I think this being a beauty podcast, I would love to hear the background of your story, of how you get to be where you are today. So talk to me, your early teen years, your mid-teen years, how you got to be here now.
Yeah. So I lost my eyesight back when I was, well, the first eye, my right eye at age 11, and then my left eye at age 17. I think it's been such a process of like therapy and just digging deep and really battling quite a lot of internalized ableism. But throughout my whole childhood, I had to go to eye hospital appointments. I was the girl with the magnifying glass in class. I was a bit, to be honest, embarrassed of my disability. I tried to hide it pretty much until I became completely blind at 17. A lot of people in my class would ask my sister, because she's only the year below me, oh my gosh, what happened? Was there a freak accident that happened to your sister? Like, why is she blind? And she's
Yeah.
like, no, she's actually been visually impaired since age 11, and she's been secretly wandering around the corridors and not going to sports lessons because she's been doing her mobility training. And I hid it quite well, and I'd have quite a lot of bruises on my legs because I'd have no depth perception, obviously only with one working eye. And then, yeah, as I say, like at 17, that's when my world faded to black. I was meant to go on a trip with my friends for A-level history, and they all went on the plane, and I was having sight-saving surgery. So yeah, it was very turbulent for me, my childhood.
And so was it a matter of just waking up one day and you couldn't see, or was it a fast but, almost a couple of days? How did it all kind of come about?
Happen, yeah. So with my right eye, it was very gradual, but I think because the brain because the brain is so clever, it filtered out kind of my retinal detachment, and the fact that there was that black curtain coming over. I didn't really realize, because I'd had so much disturbance in my eyes anyway throughout the whole of my childhood. I think being 11 and articulating to your parents like, oh yeah, I'm losing the sight of my right eye, I didn't know it was happening. And that's how, when I say it to people are like, huh, how did you not know? But honestly, because I still had that left eye working, it kind of, that just happened, and that was more of a shock, really. And then at 17, I had a cataract, which is when your lens gets really cloudy. And traditionally you think of cataracts in older age, because a lot of older people have cataract surgery. But because I already have this like really rare genetic condition, it's called incontinenti pigmenti, it runs down the female line of my genes. My mom or my late grandma aren't blind from it, but it's kind of a fluke that it happened in me. And yeah, that kind of 17-year-old me was very much like, I probably will go blind one day, but I've got such good vision, I don't think it's going to happen until I'm like 50. So
That
I was
seems
kind of a
at,
bit cocky about it.
at that
Yeah.
age it seems a million years away. So,
Yeah.
the sight goes, and that journey must have been, I can't even start to imagine at that age, because you're still evolving in your brain, the peer pressure and everything from your friends. What was the journey like? And you talk about it in an incredible way in your book. But what were the sort of key things you found you could do to try and get to a better place, to feel okay?
Yeah, I think it was also sudden, even though it wasn't. So weird. You can't plan for the unplannable. That's what I always say about blindness. I always was like, my mom would be like, read this chart, Lucy. I'd be like, Mom, I don't want to read the chart. I can see. So funny. But I think I did little things. So when I lost my sight, I would pour a cup of tea and that'd be my day. I always would say, I'm surviving, not thriving. I'm feeling very sad about what's happening to me. All my friends went to uni. I had to retake my A levels. It was kind of a very transitional point in my life where I didn't really understand myself anyway. That's all of us in our teens, right? And yeah, I was like, go back to basics, like making a spag bowl for the first time in a body that I didn't recognize. So I had a lot of mental health, but the main thing that got me out of it was my gorgeous retired guide dog, Olga. She passed actually only 3 months ago. And honestly, she was the light at the end of my tunnel. She got me out. And because I was so terrified to put one foot in front of the other and walk out the front door, I was shaking every time I would do it. And I remember just forcing myself just a little bit by little bit. And my mom would kind of like be behind me and me and Bogsy would do the route for the first time. And I'd be like, Mom, just follow me because I'm so terrified, but like just be stealthy about it and just pretend like Bogsy can't know that you're there. We've got to do this on our own. And then, yeah, it was like a lot of time in February half term kind of training with a guide dog and being that whole new life. But yeah, Bogsy taught me what it truly means to have a companion and to be needed. And she needed that routine when I was so ill and on really strong antidepressants. She gave me the reason to kind of get up, and it went from there.
And because you persevered, you've gone on to do some absolutely incredible things. When I was reading about what you've done, you've been an ambassador for Pantene. You became a BBC radio presenter. You've modelled, and it's the Copenhagen fashion show with your guide dog, and so many other things. And it's what's so beautiful, and what I love when people do come on this show and there's some impairment in their life, something that's been hugely challenging, but they don't see anybody else growing up when they're in the media and someone who's there to represent and say, you can get out of this. And I think that's such a beautiful thing that you're doing by going, this isn't going to stop me. This isn't going to stop me having a full, rich, which I think when it probably happens to teenagers, that can happen.
Yeah. I think I woke up one morning and was just like, this isn't going to change. My eyesight is not going to come back. So there's no point in saying to myself, I hate this, because this is my reality right now. And I had a really transformative therapy session where my therapist said to me, Lucy, you can love being blind and hate being blind in equal measure at different times. Both can be true and you can still be fulfilled. And I was like, yeah, that is so true. So I was like, why can't I have these things? Why can't I still achieve, and I think it is a lot to do with my support system. I've got such an amazing family and an amazing husband. And I met my husband when we were 16 years old. I could see him before I lost my sight, and he's just been with me throughout the whole journey. And I think, to be honest, I said to him one day, like, can I just record some YouTube videos, when I was 17? And we uploaded all the way through when I was a BBC journalist and, moved to London, and with Olga and Ollie. And now obviously we've got my guide dog, Miss Molly. And that's what, I just think I'm so lucky, and I just think of all the things I do have, not what I don't, every day.
It is all about perspective, and going into sort of one's perspective of a parent. So obviously, this is a beauty podcast. You're suddenly not able to look in the mirror and see what you look like. What were the kind of initial challenges you had, like at the start when it came to your appearance?
Oh gosh, I remember being so frustrated and wanting to be so meticulous about my makeup still, because I've always loved makeup. And I'd go into my sister's room and I'd be like, Alice, does this look okay? She's like, you look like so orange, you need to blend it. And I'd be like, no. And it'd be so frustrating, but so funny. Like, there'd be times where I'd be in a good mood and we'd laugh, and there'd be times where I would in a bad mood and we'd just cry. And I did that for a good year before I got any sort of ability to know what formulas I liked. So, and I forced myself to do it on my own because I was like, I want to control this. This is part of me. This is Lucy. I'm blind, not broken. The world around me is the thing that needs fixing. It's not me. And I need this confidence to not have to ask people what I look like. I want to control this. And I've always lived it. I'm not losing this part of myself. I refuse to lose this part of myself. This has always been me. Even just as a teenager, me and Alice have always adored makeup. We'd have the Naked palette by Urban Decay. And then I proved to myself, like, Blind Girl Does Her Own Makeup was born when I was 17, first on YouTube, and that got 1 million views. And then in 2020, after I kind of took a pause at the BBC and went freelance, we just started uploading on TikTok in the pandemic, and that's now become my career. And Blind Girl Does Her Own Makeup Mark 2 got 20 million views. So people were just interested in me doing my makeup.
Well, it's absolutely fascinating watching you. You do these sort of timed videos of you putting makeup on, and it's like, how is she doing that? And I've got questions about, as a makeup artist, how do you pick your shades? How do you know? Do you have to, I imagine you have to get a bit of like someone helping you with getting the shades right, and then you just repeat the same shades?
Absolutely. So it's more meticulous, as in I have to treat my face like quadrants. I've got my girls in Boots who I've made really good friends with. I've actually got their numbers, and I'm like, babe, are you in today? And they shade match me if I don't have Ali, who's my sister. But also my sister works with me. So what's really good is most mornings, because we're doing makeup videos or something to do with my makeup brand ETIA, we acquired funding from Estee Lauder last year and TikTok. So that, we're launching that next year. And I think what's amazing about having and working with my sister is just that she knows my face inside out, and she is my mirror. She tells me, she doesn't say fine. She says it's 5 out of 10, and that's quantifiable. Mm-hmm. And we have this little routine. And also she gives me makeup bags. We have 3 makeup bags on the go at different times. This is quick version of Lucy. These are the things that blend really quickly and I literally don't need any help. This is medium, where you want to do a bigger eye look and you might need to just check with Ollie after you've done your whole face. And this is hard, where Alice just does it with me. And I still love makeup and I want those products and I'm clinging on to them, but I just can't apply them myself, and I just have to admit that, and that's fine.
That is absolutely extraordinary, because sometimes I'm on the go and I'll try and put makeup on myself without actually looking, and I can then look in the mirror and go, oh my God. But I think there's something extraordinary about having, when you lose a certain sense, you sort of gain a lot of other senses in other areas. And I guess you've learned to sort of, right, that doesn't feel right, or that feels in the wrong place. So you've learned to kind of instinct to know where to place product.
Absolutely. It's the formula as well. There's some times where I've used a formula only 3 times and I come downstairs and my husband's like, no, Lou, there's still a blob, but I've sort of 75% done it. But yeah, I agree with you. It's how emollient something is. It's looking at the ingredients list and being like, you can't use that primer with that foundation. And a lot of people don't know that they separate or they oxidize, or, I know what to use with what. Also, I guess only tapping in certain places at a certain time, making sure my base is my skincare. I'm so meticulous with my skincare, because if I'm not, my foundation doesn't go on in the right way in the morning. I know that if my skin's dry, I don't use a certain product because I know my skin. So really, it's knowing myself inside out. This is what I say all the time with blindness, that I've got to know myself even more than I would have done maybe just looking at my face, because I've gone into the physics and the science of what products suit me, and it's just made me love it even more. I'm just obsessive with different things that I know that will work, and I've always wanted to mix a beauty brand with wellness. As you said, I got through the really hard times of my blindness by having that routine in the morning. And a lot of people see wellness as skincare or a bath or these different things. And I do obviously incorporate those into my routine. But in the morning, it's the most hardest time that I find, that I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm blind again today. I did in the early days. And I force myself not to go, oh, blindness, Groundhog Day. I was like, right, I'm waking up in the morning and I'm going to do my makeup and do something for myself. And I had those affirmations I told myself every morning that I'm beautiful, I'm kind, I'm clever, all of these things that I didn't believe at the start. And I just sat down and did my makeup, even if it was just for 5 minutes or just applied something. So, yeah, that's what makeup became for me. And yeah, ETIA was born in my mind years and years ago, even before the inception. But the bottles, I'm holding one here. It looks like a perfume bottle. It's inspired by a perfume bottle. We're launching a mascara, like the Vision mascara, next year.
So that's the first product
The
in the
first
range.
product, yeah, and
It's
it's
so
got.
clever.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's got Braille. It's got a universal tactile language that I actually developed in collaboration with my friends at Procter and Gamble because I was the Pantene ambassador, as you said in the intro. Pantene and Navilens and the whole journey with them has allowed me to kind of make friends with Navilens, which are this code that we're putting on the bottom of the mascara so people can zoom into the color. They can understand what the ingredients are, an audio description of all of the marketing, what the product looks like, the coloring.
So is this a barcode? So Navilens, I was looking up what that was, and it's not something. I have a beauty brand, and I didn't know about this. And I'm like, can beauty brands, can we, apply this to our packaging?
Absolutely. So you can see it everywhere now in Euston Station, Kellogg's, Tesco's got them on more and more products. You'll probably see them on all the corn products. Navilens is pretty much taking over, and they're my besties. So do mention me. But I absolutely adore them because it's just a code that your camera only scans, like it only has to see like a tiny pixel of the code and it knows what you're holding. And for me, traditional barcodes have been a problem because I can't point my camera to where the code actually is.
Yeah, I guess you don't know where
flat.
it is.
Exactly. So this Navilens code also, it 3D triangulates where the product is. So when ETIA is eventually on boot shelves or Seifert shelf, I'm manifesting, can you tell? You'll be able to like triangulate where the Navilens code is because I'll put it on the marketing at the front of the shelving. So yeah, it's amazing. And also we've got the ability to have universal tactile language. We've patented it, which is a lot of people who are blind might not know Braille. So we've done that alternative to just be able to see our little symbol. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but it's a little eye with
yes, with little eyelashes on it.
Little eyelashes, and that means mascara.
Oh, well, so you'll just have, so your packaging, I guess, will have different symbols, tactile symbols on different types of packaging depending on what it is. So you could have, like, for the lipstick, it'd be shaped like a lip or a lipstick or something, which is so this is so interesting. That mascara is designed. One thing I didn't realise, something that you wouldn't think about is the fact that mascaras are round and they'll roll off the table. And for you don't know it's rolled off the table and where the hell's it, where's it gone?
Yeah, literally.
So what are the main things about that pack design that makes it much easier for you?
Yeah, so we've got the back here with the ETIA logo. If you put that on the table, it just doesn't roll away.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've had so many products roll away and my guide was just looking at me. I'm like, babe, can you help me? She's like, no.
It's there 2 minutes ago and now it's disappeared.
Literally.
Can't see it.
And I'm like, oh. And it takes me like half an hour to try and blink and find it. And I'm like, a queen does not have time. We have 2 businesses to run. Like, no. So yeah, there's that. And then we've also got silicone. So it's easy grip for different disabilities. We're actually doing interchangeable lids. On our website, so this lid here will actually change out. We have a little window for people who can see to know what color it is, so that this will become really useful when we've got doing different other eye products. And also a shorter stem because it's really easy to just get my lashes then,
so you can feel it a lot more.
So you just hold the wand closer to your eye and you're just literally painting like so yeah, it doesn't get a lot more clumping and different things on your lid. And also the click of the it's just, there's a stopper when it's closed.
Just
loads of different little things that I was so picky about, to be honest. My team's like, Lucy.
No, but it's if it's going to be useful. So that's incredible. So Estee Lauder is supporting you doing this, and it sees, because what I saw, the the British Beauty Council, they're wanting at the moment to make sure, I think there's sort of that beauty looks like you. So there's representation, and this is what you're doing, something that's really helping get representation for people who are visually impaired or blind.
Yeah.
So what else are you looking to do? How do you want to change the beauty world? What's the goal?
Yeah, we have big plans. We want billboards in London, Times Square, with disabled people, and their gorgeous makeup looking glowing, just like, you'd see anybody else. But also, this makeup brand is for everybody. It's about getting the messaging right to understand that we're mixing makeup and wellness. Like, this needs to expand into something that everybody loves. We don't want disability to be a niche. Yes, this looks gorgeous. It looks like a perfume bottle, and there are things about it, as you say, that make it a brand designed by a blind woman, but we want you to love it too. I've designed this to look gorgeous as well, and eventually we'll expand when when the brand's coming to fruition next October, into all of these things. I also want to just make sure it's mandatory to have people properly represented in beauty adverts across the board, because there's no standard. I also want to make sure our patented universal tactile language is available for all beauty brands, and I want to be able to make this free. Even though we've patented it, we want people to use it. So yes, it is, when people use it, it will probably say Lucy Edwards and ETIA on it, but it's free to use, and we're encouraging people to use it.
Well, I have a makeup brand, and we're in the midst of doing some repackaging for some of our products at the moment. So that's something, it's good, that's why it's good if you're in connection with something like the British Beauty Council, because they can then be educating manufacturers and brands so that we know that these things are available. Because it is, when you're in the production stage, you can make those tweaks. You can talk to the manufacturers and say, can we actually put this sort of element onto it? Could it be a sticker, or how can we work around this? So that you are trying to, so it's not just a like with the representation, it's not just a token thing. It's like, what are we actually really doing that can make life just normal for everybody? It's not even, it's not a special sort of thing you're doing. It's just make everyone's life the same and easy and simple and normal.
Absolutely. You don't know what you don't know. So it's nobody's fault that they don't understand this, or, don't have a blind person in their life, or someone who would really benefit from this, because I know that there's so many people with autism that get really overwhelmed by the shelves, and just feeling a tactile symbol to be like, oh yeah, it is amazing for people who have forgotten their reading glasses, who want to translate their packaging into different languages. Navilens, you can literally scan and it can go into over 30 different languages. So it's just brilliant, and it's more inclusive for everybody. This is what we want, just universal design, really.
But what's so interesting is everyone understanding what it is like, because people don't understand what it is to be visually impaired or blind. And there, where I live, I was wanting to do some volunteering, so I went and did a sort of a day's workshop with it's called My Vision, and it's in Oxford, and I'm waiting to get a person who I'm going to go and sort of see once a week, just to go to their house. And it was really good, the training. But what they did do is that you put glasses on that have different visually impaired, parts of it are sort of clouded out, and you're like, oh gosh, okay, because different visual disabilities, they're not just, it's like a blackened room, there's all sorts of variation. And so you put these different glasses on, and you see sort of certain cloudy bits and other, peripheral or in your sort of focal point. And we have to practice, we sort of guide each other going up and down these complicated stairs and trying to do things and describing things. And it's very important. I thought it was fascinating to do that, because you just have a level of empathy. It's like, okay, I now know what it must feel like, a little tiny weeny bit.
honestly, the simulation specs are so good. I'm so glad you've done it. A lot of people in my community say, oh, when you just put simulation specs on, it's not a true representation of blindness. And my caveat and combat to that, I guess, is, people need to draw from their own lived experience some way. And if they're never going to be blind, how are they going to even understand just a tiny bit? So I so echo what you say, in that you've had that first-hand experience now. Maybe it was more scary for you because you just put on those glasses than someone who's been blind for 12 years and it's just there every day. But it's important that you've had that, because now you can empathize with day one of me going blind, because it was scary and it was something that I needed to understand a lot more and rehabilitate from. And those emotions are important, but it's also so important to consult people like myself, like, get ETIA on board, make sure that you've got all of our accessible documents to make sure that your brand is doing these symbols right and doing these things, because there's certain things that you don't know what you don't know, and that there's so many, the blindness is such a spectrum, and putting the symbols on in a certain shape and time and amount and depth and all these different things are so complicated. But I agree with you. Like, I actually took my husband to something called Dialogue in the Dark, and it was a pop-up, and it's basically taking him into a pitch dark room with no light and a cane, and he was so scared, but it was the most valuable thing he did. And all of us as a family did come out and cry and cry and cry, because I think he didn't really truly realize that was my reality, and I was just like la la la, like going ahead
yeah, you're like,
and be like, bye guys, like I want to stay in here.
But I think what's so beautiful is that if there are other young women out there in their teens who are either becoming very visually impaired or blind, they've got someone like you, because there's not, I don't think there's virtually I don't know of anybody who's doing what you've done. You've made their journey just a little bit lighter. So there's a little, light at the end of the tunnel in the nicest possible way.
I agree.
Which is incredible. And sort of finishing off on a light note, you are also, which I saw on your social media, you are Barbie ambassador, because they've now launched a blind Barbie, and you're an ambassador of blind Barbie. How did that come about?
You know what? I feel like life is just so cool, and some of these things come in my inbox, and I said to my manager Katrina at the time, oh my gosh, how has this even happened? Like, they found me. It was so cool. Sometimes it happens the other way around, and Katrina messages people and is like, oh, Lucy loves you. But no, honestly, I pinched myself. I cannot believe Blind Barbie has a lovely long white cane. It was a collaboration with myself, American Foundation for the Blind, and the Royal National Institute for the Blind in the UK. And she's just amazing. Her eye gaze is like slightly upward. She's got heels on, which I love, because I love wearing heels and having a longer cane. You have to account for the cane length, queens.
I love that. And then the other thing I always ask everyone, because I'm always fascinated, tell me your least, I'm sure there's a lot more, and you can tell me what they are, your 3 go-to favourite beauty products.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm obsessed with Rare Beauty. I just adore Rare Beauty and Selena. So I love her lip oil. I would say that's number 1. I use that every single day, no matter I've got makeup on or not. It has to be our ETIA mascara. I'm wearing it before our launch. I know we're kind of failing in public. I always like to say we're failing in public. We're not failing, but it's just to show my audience like what we're doing and where we're going, and to be honest, get consulting from our community of what they want to see. So yeah, the ETIA Vision Mascara out next year. You can go on our website, etialondon.com, and before the 31st of December, I get 10% off. And then we've got, I absolutely adore, so Korean skincare is now morphing into Korean makeup. And it's called a Fui pudding pot. And it's like this, like almost jelly blusher. I adore that thing. It's so cool.
Can you buy that in the UK?
You can. It's in Boots. They sent it to me when I did a brand deal with them. So yeah, definitely would recommend. It's very pigmented. but it's gorgeous, and I put it on with a beauty blender.
I think it's a rather amazing Korean beauty. We've got a lot to learn that we can get inspired. Lucy, it's been honestly an absolute delight to meet you, and just keep doing your thing, because it's just inspiring people in so many ways I don't think you probably know. So, thank you to Lucy Edwards. Her book, Blind Not Broken, is out to buy now, and her accessible beauty brand, ETIA, will be available online soon. That is it for True Reflections this week. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. You can find me across your social media by searching @True Reflections Podcast. I will be back next week with another celebrity to talk through their beauty experiences, their favourite products, and delve deeper into how the ideals of beauty shapes not just our physical appearance, but also the core of our identities. Until then, have a lovely week.